Thank you.
All right.
Are you going to stop back again or no?
No, I
Okay.
wasn't planning on it.
All right,
But
we're all
let me,
set.
yeah, let me know if you have any problems, because I can help as well.
Okay, I will.
Bye.
Everybody green? Microphone on? Okay. So this agenda looks a little different because I identified the parts. I went through my marked up copy. And the things that I've listed here are things I don't have any notations on, so I don't think we've discussed them either at all or fully. And I'm just proposing that we go through one at a time. I didn't put page numbers because who knows whether they're the same on all the copies.
Okay.
But that first, so does that look all right to try to get us to move in a,
Okay, sorry. I'm looking on the agenda.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
yes,
And we're looking at mission, public meetings, community outreach, information sessions first. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, the role and process section.
Okay.
And it's a matter of, first of all, is it accurate? Does it say everything it should say
In the section.
in the section?
Okay.
And is there something that should come out? The mission part is really short, so that'll be,
And we didn't do a lot of this last time?
we did part of it. We did some discussion about the background, which is above it, we did do. There are no marks on mission. I don't remember whether we reviewed it. So it's just a matter of making sure that that states accurately what our mission is. And then the public meeting part, we got partway through.
Is Courtney in? No, she's not in yet.
She's not in yet.
So.
Oh, wait, there she is.
I've got it.
You got her? Hi, Courtney.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
excellent.
Okay, great. Hi. Thanks for letting me in.
So I'm wondering if Courtney has notes on where we left off.
Courtney, there's some question about, I didn't send you this agenda because I did it just before coming in. I listed the remaining parts of role and process to start with. And the first one under that is mission. Do you remember, or do your notes show that we talked about mission?
Isn't that our direct mission statement?
I think so. It's just,
But is it actually in the materials that were handed out here?
I do see it on page 6 for me.
it is,
Mhm.
it is,
We've got it
most of
first.
them. It's on page 6.
Okay. I just want to, I'm just
All right,
double
okay.
checking.
Okay. So where are you starting?
It's page 6. It's the role and process section of the recommendation.
That
Okay.
is.
Because
that
we
is-
didn't finish the other section we were working on.
Well, there are a number that are threaded through here that aren't finished but are partial.
Okay, so we're gonna start.
I thought it would be helpful to go through systematically or methodically, section by section, to make sure we don't overlook anything.
Okay, because we finished right at funding under cost considerations. That's where we finished last time.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's why I
can
thought we were
skip-
much
can
further
skip
than.
down to that.
Well, there were still some things, there were questions about figure 2 under scenarios. There was a question about whether we needed to add 2 things under ecological health, and both of those occur before cost considerations. Bless you.
Excuse me. I have
I
that we
see.
tabled, a list of things that we tabled from the recommendation, tables 2, 3, and 4. We were going to come back to that.
Yeah.
A glossary. And then in the glossary were 2 words, stratification, resilience. And then environmental impacts, add 2 sections on biodiversity and water quality.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And then I have, why are maintenance salaries not included in the maintenance costs, page 15?
I'm waiting for an answer to that question.
Okay. And then I have background, aesthetics considerations, and role. I think those are the things we didn't get to. Is that all?
But there was also the critical gaps chart, which actually appears on page 8. There was a question about whether it belongs here or whether it belongs in the appendix.
In the appendix, yeah.
So do we agree that it belongs in the appendix?
Does anybody not agree with that? I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that the final amended one? That's not the first one that we saw. That's
No, it's not the final one because community input was moved up to 1.
That's,
Ooh, that's interesting.
do
And
we
it's
want to have
7
the
on
final
this
one or
one.
not?
Excuse me?
Do we want the final one or not?
Yes. If we
Okay.
want anyone at all, we want the final one.
Right, so that's got to be changed then.
Okay, fine.
So updated and moved to the appendix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Courtney and Elfie.
Yeah.
Where do we want to start tonight? Where do we need to start?
I think we need to start at cost considerations and go from there.
Okay, and forget about the
Yeah.
biodiversity?
I think we're done with that section.
I think the idea was that some people would go and look at that separately, and I don't know who those people were. Put in a section about biodiversity and water quality.
All right,
So I'm not sure if we were going to do that as the full group.
okay.
Yeah, that's something that we can,
Is that your
Right.
memory? Okay,
or someone can write for us and then put it in.
okay.
I think Ellen's slide from the presentation was really the statement on biodiversity, just all the animals and the many threads,
So maybe take it right from her.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a good idea, Seth.
her recommendation.
All right, so
Yeah.
cost considerations then.
So we already went through it until funding, I believe.
Correct.
Okay.
So what page do we start on?
16,
Thank you.
6,
1/6.
16.
16.
16.
So just under funding, that chart stays, figure 4? Is that in?
I think the only thing that we had in this chart, I think we were okay with it. We weren't super happy about the scenarios being all those letters because we felt we had to go back to the other one to kind of figure out what the different scenarios were.
Well, that's what my note said. I thought that we didn't decide whether we wanted something at the bottom of the page or whether we wanted to reduce the number of them. But they're consistent in each of these charts.
Correct.
All right, so what about the text under funding?
Okay. about the text? Okay. Oh, that helps.
Only-
Thank you.
The only thing I had was
Let there be light.
in the third paragraph where it starts with the second sentence. It says it could additionally be used to update Camden's critical harbor infrastructure, but I think that should be Harbor Park seawall. Because we don't want it to infer that we'll get support for the, you know, the piers and the wharfs and things like that.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it
Harbor
could
Park
additionally be,
seawall, is that what you said? Sorry, Elfie.
That's
Is that what you said, Courtney?
Yeah, instead of Camden's critical harbor infrastructure, put Harbor Park's seawall.
How about
Or-
Harbor
or
Park's
Harbor
waterfront?
Park's
How about Harbor
something.
Park's waterfront?
Waterfront. Oh, that's better.
okay.
Courtney, do you foresee, without having this list of potential grants in front of us, do you foresee any private grants available?
For Harbor Park or for the whole?
Under funding, it talks about federal and state grants for Fish Passage. I'm wondering if that should be federal, state, and private, would be my question.
I mean, that's a really good point. I don't know of any. But we could get support.
Just because we
Potentially
haven't
through, like,
tried
the
to
Nature
attract any
Conservancy or-
private donors doesn't mean there
Right.
wouldn't be many private philanthropists who would be interested if there were
Yeah.
a project, but there's no project, so.
Sure, I mean, I'm even thinking, you know, larger, even corporate. I know Patagonia certainly is like a,
Ooh,
you know, there's certainly some larger corporations that involve themselves in some
Yeah.
activities.
It's
Yeah.
it's almost unlimited the ways to describe the avenues to funding when you go for Fish Passage.
But it sounds like the majority of them would be state or federal.
Salmon Federation?
The big ones that could be like pay for the program would be federal.
Right, but I mean, Salmon Federation wouldn't be federal or state. That would be different.
Is that private?
Right. Yeah, that would be an example of
You see.
private.
Exactly.
They're their
Okay.
own
I mean, I would think.
NGO.
I don't know.
Yep. Well, they raise money from corporations and
And
Private
I mean,
donors
who knows,
and-
maybe some of the land trusts or something like that. I mean, some
So I
of the
guess I would recommend putting federal, state, and private.
Yeah,
Where,
Yeah.
where
That
are you-
first sentence
where are you
under
sticking
funding. Just the first sentence under funding. The availability of
There we
federal,
go.
state, and private
And
grants.
private, okay. Okay, do we move to the next one?
is that a consideration?
Yep, if there's nothing else under funding.
Under funding,
Yes, under funding.
did we correct the, in the last paragraph, this grant money to be utilized, Montgomery Dam and make it privately owned? Knox,
Are you, Ray?
privately owned, Knox, comma, Knowlton Street. You can put street in there, and Powder Mill. I mean, you could put dams after street if you want to, and then Powder Mill. Do we still want to refer to that as dam or just ruins there? You can
You
just
wanted to say privately owned.
privately owned, yeah.
Okay, where are we? This grant money could be utilized to finance one, the removal, right there?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the first
I found
sentence
it,
in the
yeah.
third paragraph.
Okay, and private.
Privately owned dams? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
privately owned Knox.
Yeah.
Knowlton Street.
Knox
and-
Mill.
Is Knox Mill, is the
Knox
proper
Mill,
name?
yeah.
Okay, Knox Mill,
In
Knowlton
Knowlton Street.
Street. And why don't we say Powder Mill Dam, and just make it dams, I mean, if you want to put the word ruins in there, then just put dams after Knox Mill and Knowlton Street dams and Powder Mill ruins.
Could we just have it consistent with what's on the website when you take a tour of the watershed?
Yeah, I think
You
think
just
the website
just
says
go with
ruins.
that. Like,
Well-
I don't know,
It says
I don't think,
ruins.
yeah, well, but I mean, I don't think we should be adding Knowlton Street at this point if we haven't in other places.
You know
I
what?
think we have.
Milton
I
Dam
think you should.
is-
I mean, that's the actual
Name of it, Knowlton
Yeah.
Street Dam.
I'm totally comfortable with it. It's just that it's already, it's listed on the website.
I'll make a note to just
Check.
Be consistent
check,
with our.
figure out.
Yeah,
what-
and it does say Powder Mill Dam ruins or Powder Mill ruins. Let's just go with it and not change it if it's on the website.
All right.
Anything else? Or are we ready for?
Yeah, and the other thing, under ruins, then you got two, Fish Passage. Much needed should be hyphenated. And do we need to identify
The upper three
what the three
dams.
upper dams
I
are?
agree with you.
I think it'd be good to.
Okay,
That's Seabright Dam and the
East and west.
east and west dams at Megunticook Lake.
okay.
And you want to add the at Megunticook Lake?
Oh, I think that's,
Oh,
I'm not sure if we've mentioned that before in here or not.
I don't know. That's what you just said.
Yeah,
So I just
right.
want to make sure
Yeah.
we don't lose that.
Right.
If that's what
well, Seabright's not at the lake, so
No,
Yeah, we don't want to
You-
imply
Right.
that.
yeah, I don't think we should.
okay, fine, yep.
And I wonder if the last sentence, you say NOAA's grant program does not currently require? Because is it possible that will change? Is that just wordsmithing?
No, I think.
Does
that's
not currently
important.
require.
I think it's important.
Sure, I'll have that. Okay, so anything for aesthetic considerations?
One thing, and I don't know, from last week, I don't remember, but in the paragraphs above the chart table that's there, that paragraph, these cost estimates, do we have interflow spelled correctly? It's
No.
With a
it's
hyphen and a
with
cap
hyphen.
F.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go through and make sure that's all
Okay,
right.
fine. Yep,
It's, all these different authors, I think,
okay.
changed it a lot.
The last part of the sentence that starts with while NOAA's grant program.
Yeah.
It says Camden may be encouraged to contribute some funds. Like, it sounds like it doesn't sound like a strong statement. Like I think it should be maybe required, right? That's what you're trying to say. Encourage is kind of like,
Yeah.
Right,
boy, it'd be
Maybe.
really nice if you guys put a little money
right,
in
Yeah.
too.
right.
I don't know.
I think-
It doesn't seem.
I think required.
Required.
Encourage you to
Required's
pay
better.
more taxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Required is better.
I think required. I agree.
Encourage you to do it.
Good, good.
Okay.
In the last sentence, to be eligible for these grants, is it for all grants or most grants? I mean, do you have to facilitate fish passage for all of the grants to be eligible?
Let's, I mean, the big ones, yeah.
Right.
And I think any, even private ones would
Okay.
probably require that too. But I mean, it's 100%, I don't know.
It's definitely been part of our thinking.
Yeah, but the reference up above is from two NOAA guys. And those did require fish passage, and that's what we've been told all along.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
However, some of the resiliency grants that might address Harbor Park would not necessarily require
Right.
fish passage. I
Should
mean,
we add that?
maybe I'm being technical, but
How about to be eligible for most of these
that's
grants?
what I'm wondering, most. Or the
Does that make
majority,
sense for
the
most of these?
majority,
Either one.
Most of it's better than the majority.
Shorter. Now we'll move on to aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Did I see somewhere, there was a reference to reducing, the last sentence of the second paragraph, the partial removal would reduce the vertical waterfall by 4 feet, or was it 4.5 feet?
4.5 feet, wasn't it?
I thought it was something more than 4 feet.
And I think that's probably, as one of the whole options you're looking at, I would probably do that as a new paragraph and describe some of the other aspects of that. Because I think you also, under the aesthetic standpoint of that one, you had things like the reduction of the reflection pool up there. I think you had an elimination of the flow over is it the south face of the dam?
Yeah, the one that's over by the.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I mean, there were some other aesthetic
Right.
things that were happening.
Right.
And I would treat it as its own paragraph, I think.
Right.
So the first paragraph deals with the restoration of it.
So that.
So Tyler, can
So
you
in-
say that again? What are you saying to do
I
to
think
make the partial
I think the
removal?
last sentence of that should stand alone as its own paragraph, and we should talk about some of the other. If you
Effects.
go back to the
Right.
interfluent report
Mhm.
recommendation, I
Okay.
think
So
there
add
were
more
some
here.
other aesthetic aspects to that particular design.
Okay,
With one of them being, I mean, I think at that point is it the southern flow?
It would eliminate the southern.
I think it
flow.
eliminates the southern flow unless there's significant ledge.
Southern
ledge
flow, and you may want to put in
manipulation.
parens closest to Harbor Park.
Yeah.
Or no,
No,
closest to.
To the public landing.
Yeah.
Closest to
Public
public landing.
And you mentioned, Tyler, the reduction in the size of the.
Reduction in the size of the reflection pool.
Right. Yep.
And then I think you have a
Right.
vertical reduction of the
Of
the
the.
physical
right.
front
Yeah.
waterfall.
Right. Good.
And the southern flow would be eliminated, is that correct?
That'd be eliminated, yeah. the southern-
Totally, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it would be eliminated without significant ledge manipulation. I think there was some, at one point, they came in with a little like, you could
Yeah, a couple of sticks
take
of
some, you could
well-placed
take some
dynamite.
Blasting,
ledge
right?
out of here. or-
Yeah.
I don't think, no glassing that close to buildings,
Yeah.
but ram hammer.
Okay,
So there are 3 things that we want to list then in that.
I think
paragraph, right?
this aesthetic should deal with, I think you should deal with a full restoration, a
Mhm.
reduction in height,
Yeah.
and then a
Yeah.
complete
Mhm.
removal.
But there are only 3 things under that new paragraph. I just want to get clear.
I was going to say, where do we get that list of things that we need to put there from our scenario
The partial
A?
removal one.
Yeah.
From the.
Oh, partial removal.
Yeah, from the.
There was a
reports.
report associated with that.
it's
yeah.
associated with,
yeah, we can look at that and add more. I think that's a good idea. I'll just make a note, Ty.
Ray, do you feel like
I'm-
any of these should address, it doesn't seem like we address a lot with the island
Hmm.
and
Mhm.
either vegetation on the island or size of the island, or I know that was a concern that some individuals had.
of the island itself.
Well, I think that,
It was a concern, but with any one of those scenarios,
well, I think, I mean, I think it would just be different on them.
would definitely be different.
And I think, there's always been a concern, I think, by some of the businesses there with regard to visibility of the harbor from their business being impeded by that island. And if you go to historic pictures and, well, at one point the island had like one tree on it.
Right.
And so I think it'd be something to address in here.
Yeah,
It's a aesthetic aspect that's just a collateral. It's not directly related to river, but indirectly related to how it flows. And
So would you be smart to break the paragraphs up then into full restoration, what it would look like, and then reduction of half height and then full.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Right.
I think those are your three main areas.
And so if you do that and maybe a little bullet in front of it or something that says full restoration, the flow of the bedrock, the water of the bedrock. I mean,
Well, that's already there.
right. I know, but
You were talking about like almost bullet.
But make it like a,
right.
Yeah.
In other words, it's sort of like a subset of the aesthetic considerations. One section deals
Yeah.
with full restoration, one deals with reduction of the height, or it's scenario B, and the third one is full removal. And what those would look like.
okay.
I still don't see where you fit in impacts on the island, no matter what
No,
we do. I mean, full restoration, nothing would happen to the island
Right. I would say-
necessarily,
I would
but
say
the
yeah.
other two, there would be.
yes.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that should be included in each of number 2 and number 3.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's, you're not even, I wouldn't even make a comment whether it's good or bad. It's
No.
just that.
There would be
Right.
changes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the aesthetic change.
Right.
Right, yeah.
As well as
The
reflecting
appearance of
time.
the island would change in both of those.
Yeah. I mean, for a full dam removal, your island becomes really quite large.
Yeah, it's a lot of bedrock.
Right.
Yeah. And I think you would find that over time, it would probably accumulate topsoil and other, similar to what's happened right now, I think.
Exactly.
If it's left to be natural,
If
yeah.
it's left to be natural, I
Right.
think it,
If there are cracks, there will be
Mhm.
plant life.
So I'm worried about the person who's rewriting all this. I don't know if it's Courtney.
Yeah, it is
Like making
Courtney.
sure we-
She is putting in our
Yeah.
changes.
I know, I'm just worried about where she's going to get the wording for all of this. Like, do we have to go over that again when she writes it? Do you
Well,
see
I
what I'm trying
think
to say?
most of the wording is there except for the island.
Yeah.
Because the
Right.
first 2
Yeah.
are here and full removal is on the next page.
Oh, okay. I see. All right.
Is that
I see.
okay?
Yeah, so it's the partial removal one that really
Yeah.
needs it. Okay.
But the other one, the partial removal and the full removal should make some reference to, we don't know what, but the appearance of the island would likely change.
Okay.
Is there any reason to bring up the bridge in
No,
this? Like the
No.
possibility of a bridge or,
No.
No.
no?
no.
Yeah, I say we don't mention it
Unless you
because
get a statement from the town manager exactly what's going to happen with the bridge.
I agree. Yeah,
Um,
Okay.
not really what we're involved in.
Well, and it's a ball that's being batted back and forth. So
It's a
there's-
ball that's being batted back and forth. Yeah.
And
So-
I was just gonna say, I think with the full dam removal in Harbor Park, my one concern is that with the aesthetic considerations that the library board, the trustees have some say over what those would
Mhm.
look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after the sentence about for Harbor Park,
Right,
there should be a statement about the library board.
right, that, that they will take into consideration or have approval of what.
You know,
Elfie,
I
what
don't
is
know if you
it?
mean to put the library board, I mean, it says is anticipated in there, so it's like,
That could be Dan.
it is not definitive that the changes. I don't know why we'd put the library board in there.
Well, because my understanding is that they control what happens
They
in
do.
Harbor Park. And so we're not going to recommend anything without them signing on to it.
Right.
I think you'll also,
Mhm.
I think you'll end up treating the library board almost like another one of your permitting agencies.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Whereas you'll have to get approval
Mhm.
from DEP,
Exactly.
you'll have to get approval
Ah,
from.
interesting.
So almost that your design needs to meet the requirements of that particular
Right.
group in the exact same way that your design will need to meet
Right.
the requirements of DEP.
Oh,
will need
interesting.
to meet. And
So
we'll
for
just-
that reason, you wouldn't add
I
it?
would just treat them as another
A permitting,
a permitting
Yeah.
okay.
permitting
Yeah.
group almost. That way it doesn't, I don't know. I don't feel like the library board wants to be like a huge influence on the project one way or the
No.
other.
Right.
But they just want to be one of the
Mhm.
approval groups.
Yep.
Right.
that they
I love
can
that.
sign
I think
off.
that's really a simple way to think. of it.
Right,
Yeah.
but do we want to say that and list all the
Yeah, I was
other ones, or
wondering that
just
too.
say that
I
they're
don't-
one of the approval agencies?
I don't think it's necessary right here.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you, Ray. I don't think it's
We
necessary.
can make sure we mention it somewhere. How about that? I'll make a note to mention it somewhere that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is already and I can't remember.
Courtney, if you go to the feasibility alternatives analysis report from May 3rd, 2019, page 76 talks about within the aesthetic considerations, they kind of go over the flow over the ledge outcrop, pool behind the dam, Harbor Park and adjacent areas in detail for those 3 different options.
So what page is that, Tyler?
It is page 76 and 77.
Ooh, where did you get?
So to fill these out, we should,
Thanks.
No.
we should go to those pages.
I think that those pages contain the information that we need to
Oh, I see.
include.
Great, thank you. And this is what year report?
This was the feasibility alternatives analysis report on May 3rd,
Oh.
2019.
So it was the one about the Montgomery Dam?
Montgomery Dam.
Yeah.
Okay,
Section 6.3 aesthetic considerations.
great.
Mhm.
Thank you. I had one thought for the now fourth paragraph on full removal. Instead of just saying dam removal would create a free-flowing river, I thought it was important to add dam removal and channel realignment.
Which paragraph are we talking about?
It's the
So
first
it's the
paragraph
fourth
on page
one
17.
now, because we created another paragraph, but it's originally the third paragraph.
Yeah, it says dam removal would create a free-flowing river. It's the one that follows the one we just
Yeah, right, yeah.
talked about.
And what are you suggesting?
Adding and channel realignment.
Oh.
Dam
Because
removal.
if you just remove the dam, that doesn't necessarily create the natural landscape.
And so just channel realignment.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Well,
What?
you could say dam removal and blasting. Because just removing the dam is not going to create a new channel, right?
Yeah, dam removal and,
But unearthing the original channel might not require any blasting at all. It is possible that once they scrape the mound that is
Once you
The
take the sluice
pathway.
way out and the dam and everything
in the wall
in the wall.
and the grounding basin.
Yeah, but we haven't anywhere else mentioned how we're going to do this.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Backhoes, diggers,
Diggers.
What?
I know, big ones.
many diggers.
Courtney and
Is all that machinery going to have to come down through Harbor Park?
I don't know.
Could be on a barge.
Should be on a barge.
Could be on a barge and
Okay,
just
but-
wheel off.
Most
One would
likely
hope
on a
it would
barge.
be on a barge. I
Yeah,
it would
guess.
probably come from the public landing.
Yeah.
Probably the easiest thing to do would be to actually build a full temporary bridge to
Bridge.
drive right across onto the island.
Unless it goes down the ramp next to the American Boathouse.
Those are heavy machines. Now, I mean,
Yeah,
Tyler, you
yeah,
know
right.
more than I do about them. I mean, I've operated a couple of them, but
I mean, you know how they do you saw what they do for Route 1 and they just do a new little route? and
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
yeah.
build a
No,
new
you just
bridge.
build a new little,
Yeah.
All right.
The same paragraph we were looking at, Courtney, this third
Yeah.
sentence there that starts with the committee acknowledges. I have a hard time with, I can't tell in this section if we're just talking about, I can't tell in this section if we're providing just a factual, if we're trying to provide a commentary from this group and their perspective on a recommendation, or we're trying to, like, it's interesting, when you look at a lot of the interfluid reports, they're pretty, I would say, unbiased. They kind of say like, here's what happens if you do this, here's what happens if you do this, here's what happens if you do this. And doesn't have like, in the third sentence in there, it says the committee acknowledges, it's more of like a commentary
yeah,
on, and I haven't figured out
Is it necessary?
if you're,
But the second
I
half of
got
that
stuck on that
sentence,
too, Tyler, and I didn't write it, so yeah, I got stuck on it a little bit.
but the
like, I didn't
second half of
really
that
know.
sentence is an aesthetic consideration. I mean, the wording does seem different. But the second half, saying the transformation is an opportunity to reconnect the community with the natural riverine environment. Is that not?
I would just do that then. I would
Well, that's
say.
what I'm saying. Leave that
Yeah.
part, but take the first part.
And you
out.
might even leave it as, it's not a guaranteed. I mean, you say the
Could
dam
be.
Dam removal may be an opportunity to reconnect the community with natural river environment.
Yeah. I like it. Is everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
And then we'll add that the appearance of the island will likely change, right, Courtney?
Yeah, I'm still not really sure what to write there, but I'll look into the report. See if it says anything about the island. I mean, there is an opportunity to landscape and create more green spaces, or I don't know.
Well, there are lots of things that would change, but I thought what we were saying was that it's likely to change from what it is now. We're not saying how it would change.
Oh, just that it,
With full dam removal, it is very unlikely likely that the appearance of the island would change in some way. Smaller, larger, more green, less green.
okay.
All right. In that last paragraph, can we go on to the last paragraph of that section?
Mhm.
Or you got something else?
Yep, go ahead.
Why don't we make it in the first line, businesses along Camden's Main Street, comma, instead of Main Street Camden. And then including Stone Soup Books. I guess, that's second floor.
I know, I thought that was odd too.
It's kind of odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the Camden Deli, you got the Smiling Cow, and there's no AJR Construction Service may own the building, but what's the business?
Yeah, I don't
We're
know
talking
that either.
businesses there.
Right.
Is
That's
that
supposed to
where
The
Once a
nail
Tree
salon.
is?
Once a Tree, I believe, yeah.
But no, HAR is where the nail salon is.
Is AJR is the
Yeah.
nail salon.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Oh, yeah, the
Well,
nails.
that's the one closest to the entrance into the park then.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Do you
Yeah.
think it's,
But you've
I mean,
also,
somebody's gonna look at that and say, what's AJR Constructions?
do you think it's more valuable to address them with a building address?
No, people won't identify anybody looking at this is not gonna think about the business address.
Yeah.
All right?
No, but the beginning of
Yeah.
the sentence refers to businesses,
Businesses.
not owners.
Right, yeah, right. The businesses.
So
Yeah.
Camden Deli, Smiling Cow, and then The
Whatever
nail
the nail
salon.
salon is,
what about
And
buttermilk?
once a tree?
and Buttermilk.
What about buttermilk? 'Cause
buttermilk, yeah,
Okay.
that's- Yeah,
right.
That's
Yeah.
major.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the other side of Main Street? I mean, Leather Bench and,
And I might put,
Now,
I guess the question is, should you include businesses that are adjacent to? Because I think there's some of these that,
well, it's saying the river flows underneath several businesses. The dam impoundment, rather, flows underneath several businesses.
Well, it is the Leather Bench and also
but that's not.
House
the-
of
But they're
Logan.
not,
But that's not
but
the
it's not
dam
underneath
impoundment.
them. It's not
No,
underneath
true.
the leather
No.
bench.
No, it's the Reach.
I would say House of Logan, the impoundment would reach up that
Yes,
far.
it does. It's underneath it. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't the impoundment go all the way to the Brewster?
Almost.
Building?
Yeah,
That's-
for the
yeah.
first part.
Right.
So we'd have to mention Leather Bench and
It
House of
doesn't
Logan.
go,
Well, you can say, it says including. It doesn't mean that it's exclusively.
No,
these
but
ones.
it does go under the House of Logan.
Yes, it does.
right, but it doesn't go under Leather Bench.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
was just picking up what
Yeah.
you said. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're taking out
Not other
aging.
bench, but we're adding House of Logan.
House of Logan and
And
buttermilk.
buttermilk.
About, yeah, I got that
And the
one.
nail
What
salon.
about the nail salon?
Yeah, the
No,
nail
no,
salon.
wait. Does the float actually go underneath where buttermilk is?
Yeah.
It
Yes.
does. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
there are, you can see
I know
old
they
parts of
have
it.
a view of the
Yeah.
impoundment, but I don't know if it's actually over it.
Probably the deck's probably over. I
Yeah.
mean, that's
Yeah, okay,
that's how high the water
All right.
is. I guess.
yeah, all right.
We're not trying to make a huge statement by this.
No, I know.
anyway.
No, I
It's
just like to be accurate, that's all.
I was trying to
Yeah.
figure out what we're even using it for, but I think it just to acknowledge the fact that
Right. Mm-hmm, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And do you want to call it a free-flowing stream or a free-flowing river?
It's a river.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I'm just making the comment.
I know. The older documents, the ones from the 17 and 1800s,
Maybe
refer to the stream.
Old Mill Stream.
I don't know about that last sentence.
Beginning what?
Um,
Aesthetic changes?
would include, and I understand the transformation of the river with naturalized vegetation and exposed riverbanks, replacing the current water levels. Exposed riverbanks?
What riverbanks? Really?
Well, if the impoundment shrinks to the
Mhm.
size of the
Yeah.
river.
Mm-hmm.
then
Oh, that's what they're talking about.
That's what they're talking about, but
Yeah.
that's not the most attractive way to
Well,
talk about what.
But
could
that's what
happen.
it's going to be. It's not going to be attractive for a lot of people's view of it.
Well, for a while, but they will vegetate it, part of water quality and also flood control.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about the impoundment above Knowlton Street or are we?
No,
talking
we're
No, we're
talking
still
about the
talking about
impoundment right
Montgomery.
behind the
Talking about the
Montgomery Dam.
Montgomery?
Yeah.
I don't know, if everybody else is fine with that sentence, leave it.
Do you think it's important for us to say the Montgomery Dam impoundment flows underneath?
Underneath the businesses?
No, the first sentence of this says the dam impoundment. I wonder if we should say the Montgomery.
Yes.
Or Montgomery Dam impoundment.
Yes.
So
Good.
just because we're talking about all the dams, I guess,
Yeah, you're right.
intermittently.
Right, yeah, okay.
That's a good catch.
What was the decision on the Montgomery Dam versus Montgomery Dam?
I think
Where's keeping the?
In this
Okay.
case, it's because of the impoundment.
Right. Thank you. Yes. Seth.
Oh, right, yeah.
All right.
Good call.
Okay, can we go to the next part?
So did we decide on the word exposed that Deb was bringing up? Do we want to keep that
Nobody
word?
else objected, so I said, just leave it.
Yeah, it's not very descriptive, is it?
No.
My mind like just kind of goes blank when I read that phrase because it doesn't really show me an image. So maybe I'll just highlight it and maybe we can think of a
Yeah,
better way of
a
phrasing it.
description of the riverbanks, and it could be vegetated riverbanks or
Well, I
something.
think, you know,
What if you
like
just
the
use the word
concept of,
riverbanks?
the concept of free flowing is kind of nice. And, you know, I would always argue for like enough. And when you think of a free flowing stream, you think of one where the riverbanks are somewhat distinct before vegetation begins. And it's beautiful and it's Homer-esque. And it's what you think of when you think of a riverbank. So I always think when we're doing comma, we're trying to use other words to catch people that might not have any history with a free flowing stream in their life. And so here are some words to give you a better picture. So I don't think it's important to change them. I think we could just say to a free flowing river, period. the naturalized vegetation and exposed riverbanks part is going to be illuminating for some people and confounding for other people, like the rest of the document.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
whenever
So,
we can just do period.
Period after
I'm
stream and
so-
cross off
Yeah.
that last one. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So, and you don't want to keep in replacing the current water levels?
No.
That's confusing too, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Problem solved.
So, history and cultural.
I have a question in that second paragraph. I have a question. How do we substantiate the phrase played a critical role in the subsistence economy? How do we substantiate that?
Well, there's reference to the dependence in several documents, reference to the dependence of the indigenous tribes on the sea-run fish. There is reference to
On
that.
the subsistence, is that strict, is that actually for what was then Canaan Pond? Or where?
Well, that's what the documents, and I can't tell you which
Yeah,
ones, but we've
I-
seen a couple of them.
Yeah, I mean,
Are you thinking we need a footnote there?
Maybe.
I mean,
Is it the
Well-
word critical, Ray, that you don't like, or is it?
yeah.
The
I
word
just, I
critical.
just don't, I don't think that requires any defending. I think it's just, it's really part of the wisdom, right? It did provide a critical role for the ecosystem of the Gulf of Maine at that time.
At the Gulf of Maine. Yes.
But that includes Penobscot Bay.
Yeah.
That includes
Right, yeah,
our little
right,
corner.
right.
That includes the
Okay.
hinterlands of this very
Okay,
town.
but we're
at
saying the
that time.
Megunticook River here
Yes.
specifically. We're not talking about Penobscot
But
Bay.
it did. It in its glory at that time provided an estuary that did something for this apogee of life in the Gulf of Maine at that time. That was critical.
I think it may be
I think-
attaching it to the indigenous population
Right.
is what
Yeah. I
caused
mean,
the first
But
speed.
but their subsistence
have-
on the robust runs of fish was because undammed rivers were connecting the inland with the Gulf of Maine,
Right.
and the bounty of the sea run fish made all of the life possible
Right.
that was here for thousands of years before. So like we can quibble about to leave out critical or not, but just like, I mean, at least
I mean, for all we know, obviously there were a couple of sites up on Canaan Pond, but as far as fish
I'm
subsistence and
talking
everything like
about
that,
all
could
of
have
the
been all.
cultures, all of the cultures.
But we're talking specifically about the Megunticook River here, and I don't think we can prove that.
Especially to Aboriginal people that were around the Megunticook River, it
Mhm.
was critical.
Okay. Could it have been that it was critical because they were able to just capture the fish in what we call now Camden Harbor, and they never were up on the river catching fish? Is that possible?
It doesn't matter if a fish was jumping over the first set of falls at the head of the harbor or not. The water meeting the bay there provided an important estuary. The nutrients were doing something critical in the ecosystem of that time.
All right. I've said what I wanted to say about that, so.
Courtney, in the first paragraph, it's that voice again. It sounds like we're comparing one to the other. I'd almost like it to say, dams on the Megunticook River played a significant role in fostering local industry and supporting the growth of our community. The river also had a significant pre-industrial indigenous history in the natural, like almost just to say like it was a significant, the dams on the river were a significant part of our local history. And then
Full stop.
yeah,
Prior to
and then- And then the river also had a significant pre-industrial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds argumentative the way it's written right now.
That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I felt. I'm trying
I
to
see your
eliminate
point.
it as an argumentative.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In the
I
second
think I
paragraph-
just cut and paste this from my recommendation, so
In the second
that's why
paragraph,
it goes across the way.
in the second paragraph, I don't know that we need the whole quote from Dr. Arthur Spice. I don't know if that adds to it or not. It seems like we've gone from like Seems like a lot of detail that we haven't included in other areas. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, so just plainly state that there were 2 pre-European
Yeah,
sites.
prior to settlement.
Yeah.
and-
Okay,
Stopping at region, inhabitants of the region?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think, you know, there's certainly debate about how much was fished on the river, but the river was important enough that it got a name, or the harbor was important enough that it got a name.
Exactly.
And so that meant it was at least significant.
Yeah. Mhm.
Just to some extent.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So,
And just in the last sentence of that second paragraph there, insert the words east and west before dams. Because we made a reference here about all the dams on the river, just east and west that created. the
But are we even
lake.
going to?
sorry, where are you now? I got
This
lost.
is how much of that second paragraph do we want to, other than
Yeah, let's focus on that for a
Tyler's
second.
Yeah,
then.
all right.
restatement that the river also had a pre-industrial?
Mhm.
And then everything else goes. So that the header for that section can't just be pre-industrial.
Mm.
oh, just history.
It's just
Just
history.
history.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, we have subsections, that's why. We've got like pre-industrial history, the dam.
Right, so
Harbor
it's just
Park.
going to be history.
Mhm.
There'll be a single sentence about the pre-industrial and a single sentence before that about the industrial.
So we don't even need to say history though. If it's just like a headline, it's like an intro into a section.
Could be, yep, just eliminate the
Mhm.
header.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So prior to settlement in the late 1700s, all of that is gone.
Oh, I like that one.
Is that what you're saying?
I think we keep that. I kind of feel like it's important to note that there were Native American sites found, but as proof, because to Ray's point, there, where's the proof that there were settlements? Well, there is some. It's just,
So have that statement, let that stand instead of saying the river also had a pre-industrial role? Do we want just that first
I'm
sentence?
not really bothered either way.
we could just take out the quote and just say there were, or two pre-European Native American sites. Yielding stone fragments were found on the shores of Lake Megunticook. Without saying like, who said that? And
I don't
It's
have,
that important
I don't
to
have
you
a
guys.
problem with him being cited in there.
Okay, that's fine.
I think there's,
So we want to leave that in. Is that what we're saying now?
I don't, I don't care that much either way.
Put it as a footnote.
Ray, do you think it is important to include that there are a series of smaller ponds throughout the watershed? And then the east and west dam flooded what became Megunticook Lake?
I think it gives a picture, and we're talking about pre-industrial history, that gives a,
Sure,
a
what it
picture,
looked like
picture of what it
beforehand.
looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but remember.
yeah, a lot of
this
people
is-
don't know that. I didn't know that.
People don't know
For a very long
that,
time.
but this is
Yeah.
supposed to be an explanation or description of things that were important to our recommendation. That's why they're called considerations.
Mhm.
And so while that's interesting, is that important for people to know if we want them to understand why we recommended what we recommended? That information is likely available in several places on our website.
Now you're asking hard questions.
Yeah, well, it's my job.
I don't know.
I think that sentence is more about the Native American settlements being erased than it is about, in the way it is stated. But we could change it just to make it more plain, and I don't know.
No, my question is really, what is it in terms of how historical and cultural facts influenced our decision?
Yeah,
How much of those 2 paragraphs are critical to that? Not in terms of what would be interesting to somebody, but understanding what we thought was important.
yeah, it's a good point. We had a whole presentation from the Native American perspective and what they valued, and we didn't include that here.
Right, but it's also, my understanding is that that was important to us, that pre-industrial
Yeah.
history.
Mhm.
Because we're talking about the life of the river and the watershed. And saying that restoring or going back to what it was like back then is important. That's all. It was significant to us because we're concerned about the entire river. It had an industrial past, but it also had a non-industrial past.
Yeah, that is important to me.
It's not like we're creating something from nothing. We're not creating a whole new river.
Yeah.
So, and I don't, if that is true and seems significant, I don't know what that does to these two paragraphs, but that's why you all are.
I think it's included, when I go back to page 3, which is the summary of our recommendation. There is an aspect of that summary that is a historical context, and I would say
Correct.
that is the basis for that.
It's in the summary, shouldn't it be in the bulk of it?
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, so I think this is kind of supporting that. And I think one of the questions it may, for me, brings up is, in the recommendation summary, is there a historical part of this recommendation that we're missing? Should we have something in there that says the recommendation is full removal of the dam with blah, blah, blah? But am I also recommending under the historical context that
There'd be some
placards should be put
recognition.
along the river at the dam location, or recognizing pre-industrial? I mean, is that also part of our recommendation? We seem to be very focused on the dam, but there may be part of recommendation about signage or placards or
Will certainly come up a number of times and has had
or even
support.
physical. I mean, there was even been discussion about physical elements as far as.
Yeah, remnant elements.
Sure, I mean, I look at like the capstan in the park. I don't know the last time we've used that. I'd seen it only like once or twice used to.
So
haul ship over, but
Tyler, it's a good point that this is here because it is in support of that
Yeah.
summary
I think
statement.
so.
Yeah, and you're going right into the next section, which is basically about the beginning of the industrial era here, or whatever you want to call it, the Montgomery Dam.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay.
now, I don't think it was called the Montgomery Dam in 1771.
71?
It's
No.
not.
No,
Yeah, I already changed
Yeah.
that.
Oh, you did? You just said a dam was built, maybe?
yeah,
What we
Um,
now know as Montgomery Dam?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that, because it was a discussion we had before about it, so I made sure to put it in, but the wording isn't probably perfect yet.
Okay.
The dam we now call the Montgomery Dam was originally built,
yeah.
blah, blah,
You know,
blah, something like that.
I think you
I don't love
basically say, I basically, got Montgomery Dam, you could really turn around and say the first dam in the Megunticook River was built by William Monet in 1771, excuse me, where the Montgomery Dam now
Ooh.
stands.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
Its original purpose, the rest of that paragraph to me looks good.
Yeah.
The only thing I have a hard time with
Hmm.
as
Yeah.
a history buff is really the water was moved quite a ways to
Yes.
the anchor works was more where like
Right, where
the
the Montgomery
bathrooms
Dam
are
is now.
located in the
Right,
public
Right,
land.
right,
Yeah.
right. It was moved
Oh.
quite a ways.
Right. Okay.
And I think there was a sluiceway that was created that brought water along that edge.
Yep.
Yes.
But maybe if we're just trying to tell the story at a high level, I think probably I'm okay with it.
Okay.
And you could use the word,
Good.
Yeah.
This is good.
you could use the word near. I forget exactly what I said, but you could just say near instead of where. Near the current location of Montgomery Dam. Right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, there's the second spill one.
Second paragraph on that one, just a little couple punctuation things and comma after spillway in the first line.
Okay.
And then, which was located south of Montgomery Dam and adjacent to
Okay.
the current location. Now, the Camden and public landing, I think should be capitalized, just like Harbor Park.
Okay.
And I would change, functional application to like industrial use.
Good.
The last
Mhm.
functional application, the last industrial use.
I mean, I think a lot of people would
Yeah.
say that it has
I
a
like that.
function now and then
Right.
it's all aesthetics.
Right.
Right,
So
industrial, that's good.
industrial use of the dam.
Who used it in the 1980s?
Yeah, I want to know that too.
What?
What was the last industrial use in the 80s? Who used it? Which business?
I can add that in.
I don't know. I can't add it
I
in because
think,
I don't know
no,
what it
I-
was.
Was it Alden?
Hmm?
Was it the anchor?
1980s? No, I don't
No.
think so.
No.
No, that was long before that.
That's burned down.
I think it may have supplied some, who was underneath where the Smiling Cow is now?
I think I thought the last use was through the basement of, the.
What is the Smiling Cow? Yeah.
Not Smiling Cow, actually through the basement of the Once a Tree.
Oh, I didn't mean Smiling Cow. I'm sorry. You're right. Once a tree. Yeah.
Because that, in their basement, they still have I believe the turbines. still down.
That was a grist
No
mill
kidding.
or a,
Yeah.
ooh, that'd be cool to see.
Drain the dam and walk under there and find it.
You don't need to drain the dam.
That would be.
Still in the
All
basement.
right.
That could be the remnant relic.
I mean, really, that is neat.
All right.
Okay. All right. So we don't have to mention what it was. I was just curious.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, moving on to Harbor Park.
Okay.
I will defer to our library trustee over there. Do we want to call her Mary Curtisbach, or do we want to put Louise in there
Mary
too?
Louise.
Mary Louise. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
You got that? Courtney, you get that?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Mary Louise Bach?
Curtis.
Mary Louise Curtisbach.
So that's halfway down that paragraph?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you spy anything else, Susan?
No.
Hmm. Was the grading of Harbor Park done specifically to block the view, or is it just the plantings?
It
No, really?
was- No, the grading was done to block the view.
Okay, all right.
Yep. It also was done to retain that,
Mhm.
the higher.
All right, okay. I know we have a couple little things, let's see, in that paragraph that begins, today Montgomery Dam is connected to the, I believe seawall is one word.
So what number
Okay,
sentence is it?
1, 2, it's the third
Page
paragraph.
17, third paragraph, today Montgomery Dam is connected to the
Oh.
seawall, should be one word.
Oh, yeah.
Little wordsmithing, if you'll allow me.
Mhm.
Of course.
Montgomery Dam does not currently serve as a source of power generation rather than serve functions.
Where are you, Deb?
Sorry, it's just below. It's that same third paragraph, Courtney.
Okay.
The fourth sentence, Montgomery Dam does not currently
Yeah.
serve as a source of power generation.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
I see why that's there
Would it be a
because of the
source,
flood
would it be a
control.
source of flood control?
No, that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
think because of the string of ores.
Oh,
It could say, presents, does not currently serve as a source of power generation or water supply. Or power generation and water supply, or provide flood control. You
okay,
can leave it. I don't feel strongly.
that's fine.
And since, okay, I understand sort of, but the sentence begins, the dam presents a full fish passage barrier, but we do have some fish that get over it, correct? So it can't be a full barrier.
Yeah.
Oh, because of the elders?
Yeah,
Or what do you
yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
But that's the rest of the sentence.
oh, okay.
I think to keep it true, the dam presents a blockade to sea-run fish.
Blockade to sea.
It's a blockade even
Or
for
a barrier.
even
Barrier,
but
barrier, I like barrier better than blockade.
but it's a blockade even for the eels.
Yeah. So would you change that second part of the sentence, Seth?
Why don't you read it off? Seth, you gonna read off what you want to put there?
The dam presents a blockade to sea-run fish, comma, though elvers, whatever, can stay.
Pass,
Okay, cool.
bypass the structure. I put a period after,
I would too. And
after structure, and then capitalize the other sea-run fish species, comma, such as alewives, comma, have been observed in Camden Harbor below the dam.
That whole paragraph's a little fun. It's like we've captured, it's like, oh, here's the 8 different things that aren't quite related that we haven't talked about. And we'll put them in one paragraph together. Like it's not under Harbor Park anymore. Maybe the first sentence is.
the second one is, but
And then the second sentence talks about opening the dam up. It talks about power generation.
It's
It
talking
just-
all
it's
about the
weird.
current, it's basically,
Yeah.
what is the current purpose of Montgomery Dam? Basically.
So maybe, is that another section? Like we have history.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I can't tell, it's just, there's a lot of stuff put together there.
Yeah,
It
like,
is
why is
about,
that
I mean,
there?
we're under this section, under the heading of Montgomery Dam. No,
Yeah.
now we're under Harbor
Right.
Park. So maybe it should go under,
Today,
Yeah.
maybe it should go under that first section.
I was gonna say, if it goes
I think-
after that first section to construct Harbor Park, and then you say, today Montgomery Dam is connected to the seawall in Harbor Park, and then you move that paragraph up to the, under Montgomery Dam, and then,
The one that starts with the town frequently opens.
No,
I was gonna say, start with today, the Montgomery Dam.
Oh, that whole paragraph?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, fine. I thought
move it
you
all
were,
up, move it
Take
all up.
that whole paragraph.
Yeah,
up.
good.
Yeah.
I thought you wanted the
Good.
connection to the seawall to stay.
No, move it up,
Move the whole thing up under Montgomery Dam.
Right.
right,
And above Harbor Park.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, good.
and
All right.
then, and then go into Harbor Park.
Yeah, that's good.
That is good.
Good catch.
Do you think it makes sense to put the fact that the seawalls been damaged in storm events over the past few years, or is that irrelevant to our decision on the dam?
I think the damage to the seawall is really not the river.
No, I agree with you.
No.
Does it?
So both of those paragraphs move?
So the whole paragraph today moves up, and then the last paragraph under Harbor Park becomes the committee. It recognizes,
Right, so are you saying,
No,
To keep-
both of those paragraphs could go up under the Montgomery Dam, right? The committee recognizes the importance of preserving the historical and cultural significance of the Montgomery Dam and surrounding area.
The last paragraph seems like you are providing
Sort of
a
your
long,
summary
it's your
then.
summary or your
Yeah.
final recommendation based upon the facts given above.
Mhm.
That's what I think you have like a section of facts associated with the history and cultural considerations. And then the last sentence or paragraph should kind of be the committee recommendation based on those facts. And
And then that
in a
leads
long-
into your
in a
decision.
long-
yeah,
But that last
So is there another
paragraph
header?
references what you were talking about up under the Montgomery Dam, which is why I thought of moving it, because it's about installing interpretive signage and displays to document the dam's history and the things it could include.
Oh, okay.
Where are you proposing to put that?
I
Up
don't-
under Montgomery
I don't-
Dam. In
I
other
don't-
words, those two paragraphs,
Yep.
I think, go together. And I was reminded of Tyler's
yeah.
comment about, what about the issue of some significant remembrance of the dam
but
on site?
I think, yeah, we're getting down to a final thing here. I like that paragraph, the committee recognizes where we have it at the end of this thing on Harbor Park. Because you're talking about the dam, you're talking about Harbor Park,
Surrounding area.
yeah, I think it's appropriate to have it right there as a,
I like it there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could have a header in between so people know, or maybe make a big space.
What's separated from Harbor Park? Give it another title, another
Yeah, like
subheading.
what other title though? Could be conclusion, something,
I kind of feel like, Courtney, every section should be kind of set up that way where you kind of go through aesthetics. Here are the like facts associated with aesthetics. And then the last paragraph or sentence is like our recommendation based upon the aesthetics.
Yeah.
Or funding, and here's the
Oh,
different funding.
yeah.
And then the last one is like,
I like that. We could even spell that out, like recommendations.
Right.
Let's do that in all these,
I almost feel like that's how they should be written.
all of these
Yeah, I hear you.
considerations.
The nice thing is it gets your commentary, like it makes it,
Mm-hmm.
it makes the section factual. And then you have one sentence at the end that very clearly is a committee recommendation based upon this.
Yeah.
But
It's
would you
just
do
very
that
clear,
throughout these
too.
sections? Is that what you're saying, Tyler? Under all the headers under rationale?
I don't know, it's just a formatting question.
Yeah,
Well, maybe
I
it'll be
think-
easier to see once all the changes are made.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we want to kind of put that kind of a sentence after each one of these sections and sort of,
Ties it together, it says.
it
based
could
upon
tie it
stuff
together,
above.
but I'm not sure if we'd be able to have something for every one of the sections that way. That's,
a lot of work.
let's take a look at the next
Okay, so decision.
decision, yeah.
Is this decision or recommendation?
No,
We've called it a recommendation.
Yeah, maybe we should
Title of the
change
document
that.
is findings and recommendation. So,
Yeah, it's a recommendation.
but,
yeah, we're not deciding anything.
Right.
all right, but we got a recommendation summary at
For
the
the
beginning.
ciders.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just about
Background and
consistency.
all this stuff. Yeah, you could make that recommendation there, decision, either one.
And the first sentence starts with, we are recommending.
Right, yep.
Mhm.
All right.
Oh, you guys want to hear a horrible quote?
Sure.
Recommendation is just that, a recommendation. It's not a decision until you make one. And not making decision is decision in itself.
We just come full circle. That's
Yeah. Well, recommendation is a better word there than
Yeah.
it
decision.
is.
Yeah. All right.
I have a thought for the third sentence, first paragraph, where it starts, we carefully.
Mhm.
So we carefully considered, I think we should add in the full range of technical and research reports cited above, as well as a variety of technical reports and research.
And did, if you put in cited above, there was a question, and I'd have to look back where, that we thought about moving
Oh, yeah.
the reports to the appendix.
Hmm.
Okay, so maybe I should just take out cited above.
Yeah, because the appendix, I think, is titled
Or I
Resources
could say
and
mention,
References.
or,
You don't like we carefully considered a variety of technical reports and research?
I was feeling like it should be, we should say, like we're fully, trying to remember my thought process. Like just saying a variety could have been just like, we looked at one report. They're like, I don't know, or two, but I think we need to say that we looked at the full range of all of the information. Maybe it's not that important.
I think it implies the thoroughness with which this has been studied, like,
Yeah.
to death.
28, 29 months.
So keep in the full range, or
Well, for now, let's not fuss over the word. Maybe
Okay.
it'll come.
I like your suggestion.
okay.
The full range.
I do too.
It's three of us. Okay, we carefully considered a full range of technical reports and research,
Yeah.
expert-led presentations, and community input.
The premier full range.
I'm not going to quarrel with the full range of community input, but lumping that in.
The full range
Like
of
the
the
full
very
range of
best.
technical reports and research, expert-led presentations, as well as
Okay.
much community input, something like that.
Okay.
I would dispute that we looked at a full range of. community
That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, I hear you.
Can we say just numerous instead of a variety? Technical reports and research?
Well, I think that the phrase that attracted Seth's attention was full range.
Yeah.
Rather than just many.
Okay.
Second paragraph.
First sentence, I would say, under no longer serves its intended function, I would say no longer serves its original function.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Much better.
That's good.
The last sentence of that paragraph should we mention the other upstream dams? Because they also degrade water quality. So it reads currently like the dam also degrades water quality, but we could say the dam or this and other upstream dams also degrade water quality.
We could, but the paragraph's talking about the Montgomery Dam. I mean,
Focus on that.
I think we should stay focused on that. By the way, I did look up some of the definitions, and keystone species was particularly interesting.
Was what?
Particularly interesting.
Yeah.
The expression comes from the stone at the top of an archway,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is usually a wedge,
Holds everything together.
and it
everything
holds
together.
everything together. All those bridges in the UK and Scotland,
Yeah.
they all have
Oh.
keystones.
Acadia.
Yeah, Acadia, closer by.
Right. I believe that was the creation of the Romans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Do you feel like the first sentence here ends with now poses significant ecological and financial burdens? And then the next one goes ecologically this. Do you think there should be something that says financially this? Like you made an argument to support the
Good point.
ecological aspects.
And so what about the financial ones? Is that what you
Do
mean?
we-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know if that's what we have down below, like 2 paragraphs lower where it says economically.
Oh.
Oh.
Like I'm
That's
wondering
what
if
I
it
thought
should
it
say
is.
financially. Like, why if we should move it up and have it financially?
Oh, yeah.
Where?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It starts
That's the
economically.
1, 2, 3, 4, fifth
Dam removal
paragraph down.
represents
Right.
Move that up to
right underneath that second. So be the third paragraph.
be the third paragraph.
But the other 2 paragraphs are focused on the ecology, really.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe, maybe.
Kind, I mean,
actually-
well, one is
maybe
the
it's doing it and
flooding.
Maybe we just change it to financially.
Instead of economic.
Just change the word.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we could add in something about flooding in that, ecological and financial burdens. But,
Well,
or does
the flooding is
ecological infer flooding as well?
Flooding is in paragraph 4.
Yeah.
Would it make sense to, so at the second paragraph, the Montgomery Dam originally constructed to support industrial operations, and then significant ecological and financial burdens, period. Should that then be a new paragraph? Now we're starting with ecologically, going down 3 paragraphs, and then we have financially or economically.
Or
Is
what
that-
if you take
Yeah, I
out
like
the
that.
financial burdens in that sentence, talk about the ecology, and then go down to financially, dam removal?
Instead of economically.
In other words, it poses significant ecological burdens. Take out the financial.
Oh.
Talk about the ecology, and then you go down to the financially, dam removal represents the most cost-effective way.
Okay.
So in other words, don't combine the 2 in that first sentence.
Okay.
Talk about it ecologically and then go down and talk about it financially.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yep.
That makes sense to you, Courtney?
Yeah, I think either way works. I think the original thought was to kind of give that
Summarize.
overview of like there are significant ecological and flooding and financial burdens. I'm not sure what word to use for flooding, but it's kind of setting it up. I'm not.
I
married to
agree.
it.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So where does that leave us?
I mean, what if,
So without having to do lots of rewriting, maybe just take ecologically out of the second
Just leave it in
sentence and
burdens.
just, I think leave the first sentence. It's
Yeah.
fine, poses significant ecological and financial burdens. And then the next sentence just begins, the dam acts as a barrier. It's just an idea. It's fine. Just take out ecologically, the dam, it's true. We talk about other stuff. Don't change the order of the other paragraphs, leave them. Just one possibility.
Yeah, if you took out
Fine with me.
the and financial burdens, then what you're suggesting makes more sense to me. In other words, poses significant ecological burdens. The dam, and explaining that the dam acts as a barrier. But if you leave the financial burdens in there and
It's
take
just
out
that they're intertwined. So we can tease them apart, but we don't have to. And we could just take one word out and leave it. Because I just give the audience a little bit of credit.
Yeah, I think
It
you should.
poses ecological and financial burdens. The dam acts as a barrier to migratory fish. In this case, it's an economic future that is based on fish.
well, then if you go down to the fourth paragraph, would you not start that paragraph with financially?
I wouldn't think differently about that paragraph just by making that one change to that paragraph and leaving it. And then I would look at that paragraph in a minute.
But I think the other one, you could get rid of it and just say dam removal represents the most cost-effective option in the long term. Leave it at
Yeah.
that.
Fine. Yeah.
Like
So the
people
introductory
can figure
words,
out-
take them out.
People can figure out
Yeah.
you're talking about finance if you're talking about cost-effective.
Yeah. That works for me.
Okay.
Do you think we should have? Do you think we should have as much emphasis on, I mean, to me, really the only financial argument is the fact that if you can get someone to pay for the whole thing, that's the financial argument. Because when you really look at the numbers that they provided,
Mhm.
the 50-year numbers for removing the dam and keeping the dam are, for all intents and purposes, the same.
That is,
The 50-year?
but that is what we're saying. That is why we're bringing this to the
Yeah.
select board's attention, that they, as,
I guess I don't know.
like people looking out for the best of the town would be foolish to squander this opportunity where basically the grants would pay for the entire
that-
project.
But is that based on the grants paying 100% of
Oh, I
the
see.
whole project? Or is it based on them paying 80% or 75% of the project cost? And the
Um,
taxpayers
Still
picking up the
substantial.
rest?
We've talked about it so many times that would be based on 100% or whatever was okay. We would put it in the language. That is what we have discussed.
Right, but those economic benefits are tied, it seems inextricably to me, to the upper watershed. In other words, just comparing the 50-year costs
Right.
for keeping the dam and removing it. The funding that would allow whether you want to say restoration of the river
Yeah.
or an improvement of the ecological health and flood resistance throughout the watershed. I can't separate that from the financial because of the grants. Without the grants, it's not likely we would ever use tax dollars to
Right.
do all of
Exactly.
the watershed work.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that's what
I mean, your point is well taken, but
I guess are we putting? I think the second sentence is not, the second sentence of the one that previously began economically.
the unlike dam restoration? Is that the sentence?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's kind of like additionally, the funding, like really the main seller is, there are funding opportunities to do this. And that's kind of the main seller. That's the main point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this and so much more. Right.
Exactly.
Because you look at the ongoing maintenance and kind of the ongoing maintenance prediction is about the same.
About the same,
Yes,
right. So
yes.
that part of
Yeah.
the sentence, that
Right.
it
Yeah.
is not that.
Right.
No.
And I think it's funny because, not funny, but while I've been working on that Warren article, I've gotten comments back from a number of people talking about rewriting the Warren article to very specifically call out 100%
Yep.
non-taxpayer money.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, those two that we
for
had
the-
as examples.
For the
did
dam
that.
removal. I
Right.
think it's hard to you're not gonna get money from NOAA for the next 50 years. That's not
For
gonna happen.
maintenance, right?
Right.
It's focused on, and tie the warrant article to that and be very clear that, to taxpayers, that this part of it,
Won't happen without
without
grants.
getting grants.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we've talked about that. We talked about it being a contingency.
To be
I think
honest,
it's gonna
when I originally drafted the warrant article,
Yeah.
I actually strayed away from that aspect.
Mhm.
And the pushback I've gotten from like Bina and other people is put it in there because they feel like they can get there.
Well, and the two models we had also prohibited use of tax money for the
Mhm.
dam removals.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So going back to this paragraph, Tyler,
Which one?
this is the fourth paragraph. Unlike, so we would say dam removal represents the most cost-effective option in the long term. Maybe we have to change that. Unlike dam restoration or partial removal, full removal eliminates the need for expensive structural inspections and repairs, because that's true, the dam wouldn't be there.
Right.
But I imagine this is probably also referencing other structures that are adjacent to the dam structure, which I would view as
You mean the walls?
personal property and other,
Oh, those,
even
yeah.
businesses that are adjacent to the.
Right,
I mean, you would go
Right.
you would go to a quite consolidated stream in which there are a number of structures that are currently in and out of water areas that would be
right,
mostly on dry land.
right. And we haven't really looked in detail at the difference. You may know because of your engineering background, but as a layperson, I have no idea. I know it's a very different environment.
Yeah, I mean, if you drop the height of that impoundment, I mean, you're almost dropping it, what, like 12 feet?
Right.
That's where the
So then
river
what happens?
goes.
There'd have to be some adjustment to the under structure of those buildings, correct?
Which buildings are we talking about?
The ones that are right in the impoundment now, the ones that we
Right.
listed earlier.
Right.
Camden Deli.
Right, yeah, right, okay, fine.
Yeah, any of those would be,
So would that be rougher without the water?
it would be different.
Okay.
There's some things that are probably better and some things that probably aren't.
Yeah.
I can tell you for getting underneath those structures to look at things or do plumbing, or it's a lot easier if there's not water
There's no
there.
water,
Yeah,
right.
so there's certainly advantages.
Mhm.
There could be aesthetic advantages. I was sitting in Camden Deli the other day thinking that I could see a second deck that's now lower. So now I have a terrace deck and a set of stairs that go down, because his property goes about halfway out into that impoundment.
Yep.
And
It does.
you have an outside lawn.
Yep.
And you
Oh
have-
my gosh, that'd be neat.
And you have
Yeah,
20 more seats out there that
Right.
yeah, because a lot of people want to, that's where they want to
you either
sit.
sit inside and look out the nice glass over top of things, or you
Yep.
take the set of steps down to the.
Yep.
So similar to the roof. So
I'll tell Tom that.
Yeah.
So,
But I wonder, does it really eliminate the need for expensive structural inspections and repairs for those buildings that are over the impoundment now? In other words, will they need to take a look at freeze thaw, maybe?
well,
in
that's what
5
we're talking about,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Right.
And I don't know, can an adjustment to that changed environment be done initially? And then that statement would still be true. In other words, it wouldn't be any more and might be less than what has to be done in the
Right.
presence of water.
and I would imagine it'd be interesting to look and get from to look at some of these other times where they've
Mm.
modified structures that are right in downtown
Right.
properties. But if you are putting a plan together to modify this structure and it's impacting surrounding structures, my guess is a lot of their structural aspects have to be addressed by this project.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's
That to
very-
be addressed by,
This project.
This project, yeah.
That's very similar to the first thing they did when they did the Rockport Library is they go around to every adjacent structure and they record what the foundations look like, what the chimneys look like,
Mhm.
how these things could be affected. And then when they do the ram hammer and they do noisy things and stuff at the end, they can
Yeah.
redocument things, so if they impact
Yeah.
Wrecks in the
neighbors,
road.
it happens, so.
All right.
So what do we do with that sentence?
I just want to make sure, I guess, I have no huge issue with the sentence. I just think it seems like the secondary comment in the sentence is, oh, and by the way, there's funding opportunities for this, but like, I think that should be the primary one, is that
Yeah.
dam removal opens up funding opportunities for basically Harbor Park restoration and, I mean, really, or maybe creating fish passage.
Well, it's there. I mean, funding opportunities for dam removal through ecological restoration and infrastructure resilience grants.
I guess I don't think it's additionally. I think that is the primary thing.
No, but I'm saying if we changed it along those
And
lines.
additionally, it may provide maintenance opportunities for adjacent structures. I mean, it's almost
Yeah.
like,
Just flip it. Dam removal offers funding opportunities through ecological restoration and infrastructure resilience, making this option fiscally prudent. That could be the first sentence,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Or if you just take out the sentence, unlike dam restoration, and just move the additionally up to after the long term.
Yeah.
One issue is that the next paragraph talks about funding for the removal of the next 3 dams.
Right.
So brain-wise, it might be smart to have the flow be like funding instead of funding, maintenance, funding. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so
I
just
hear your
combine
point,
the funding
Tyler,
ones.
to make more
Combine.
emphasis. What's that?
You want to combine the funding ones?
Yeah, we can,
In other words, merge paragraphs 4 and 5, sort of.
yeah, I see what you're saying.
but I guess there's like, maybe the word in there, maybe the part that's bugging me is minimizes ongoing maintenance costs, because if I remember correctly, I'd have to go back to my table. Hope you just had it a second ago.
I did.
Yeah. The 50-year maintenance
Right,
costs
or just
associated.
almost the same.
They're very similar.
I don't think you've minimized it.
Wait, say that again? But wouldn't the maintenance costs to the dam be 0?
Yes.
If there's no
maintenance
dam?
costs
Yeah.
For the
missing
channel,
something.
river channel,
Right.
right.
They're pretty close.
Wait, what?
Their
Sorry, I think I'm
maintenance
missing something.
costs, their maintenance costs for the river channel itself. If you have, let's say, a significant storm event, the channel may need to have some restoration. So
But
there's that,
But that's very different than the dam repair and maintenance.
true.
Yeah.
So that's why we use the word minimizes.
So which one are you
But-
looking at, Tyler? Because if you look at figure 3, there is another chart that makes them look the same, but not that one.
I mean, what are the maintenance costs other than,
The
Landscaping
The
and-
estimated, the maintenance costs for dam removal is 1.3 million over 50 years.
Right, that's that's this
Yeah.
one. And for
And let's see, the other one is 2.3 over 50 years.
2.3 over 50 years. So it's not minimizing, but it's not the same.
I agree with that.
So
How do we write
Courtney, do you want to take on crafting a way to combine those two parts of the funding? Those 2 paragraphs?
yeah,
I'm watching the clock and I want to make sure.
yeah,
I mean, really, I guess what we're trying to say is the fact that you would be providing fish passage turns a $3.6 million project over 50 years into a
1.3.
$1.6 million project over 50 years. That's the argument you're trying to make.
Can we say
could
those
just say
exact
that.
words? Yeah.
And is that maintenance for the whole river? That 1.6, or is that for the Montgomery Dam?
This is just Montgomery Dam.
Like, what are we spending that money on?
River Channel.
But there's no,
I don't know. I think.
we no longer need a dam
yeah.
maintenance person or two.
I'm with Courtney.
doing,
I think that,
don't
I
know.
think that
What?
might include the fishways at East and West and Seabright. I think that would.
Something
make-
fishy about
that would-
this.
That would make more sense.
Well, then the
If
chart's
at
not
the-
accurate.
At the
if that's
completion,
true.
I think the chart is in kind of, I think it's either about completion of an entire project and maintaining fishways upstream, because no, it doesn't seem to pass the straight face test that it would be even that much for people to go
For the
down
new,
and take out
for the new
logs.
river channel next to Harbor Park, 1.6 million over 50 years is,
Yeah.
Wait, what chart are you guys looking at again?
I can tell you what the breakdown.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which one?
I can tell you what the breakdown is, where it comes from.
Oh, good.
Are you in the feasibility?
No, I am looking at the cost memo.
Cost memo.
There was a cost memo sent out to
Oh, yeah.
taxpayer things in September of 2024. Sorry, it's one of those.
It's basically $26,000 a year,
Times
the 1.3.
1.3.
I guess that's not that much.
Would certainly easily be offset by a fish harvest,
Like
for
age.
instance.
He basically in here had annual operation and maintenance at $2,000 per year, and had repair and rehabilitation every 10 years at $50,000.
Oh,
That's five.
Repair and rehab of,
500,000.
It's
No,
probably
10 years,
it's probably
50.
replanting
50.
things,
Right.
adjusting rocks. When you do get high water events.
So it'd be 5,000 plus the two, so 7,000 a year. That's not 26,000.
No, but
is what you
it
came
was
up with.
how much every 10 years? 5,000?
50.
What did you say, Tyler?
So that is so it all depends on what you're talking, $2024 or
yeah, yeah.
that's part of the
That's true.
issue. So
he was saying 2,000 a year, but then
the total
10,000 every
aggregate
10
cost,
years.
this is even including escalated at 4.2% over 50 years. So this is compiling a cost at some point in the future. So you're looking at a total cost in 2024 dollars of $350,000.
Yeah.
But you're comparing apples to apples, so they're doing it for both of them.
Right, yeah.
So they're
we
basically.
could just be very, oh, sorry, go ahead.
But I do think that is the pathway that minimizes the cost to the town.
Right.
Yes.
So it's,
We could spell it out, just say per year, it would be, 26,000 for this and that. It could be more like up above in the cost section. Because
But we could
if we're
just use
confused about this,
Why not just
other people are
adjourn
going to be
it?
confused
Just
about it.
one.
the phrase that Seth just used, minimizes the cost to the town, and then supply the data.
Yeah.
In a chart or bullets or however you want to do it.
You mean in this section, in the summary, or?
No, I
like
think
in
I
the
would be
cost?
happy without repeating any charts and just, that's the conclusion.
Yeah, so keeping it the way it is, you mean? Or,
No.
no, what would you do?
How did you phrase it, Seth?
I was using minimizing the cost to the town concept because that's what I thought I heard. I haven't really been following along with where we are for quite some time.
We use the word minimizes here, or whatever
Yes.
it is.
Yeah,
can't
and
remember.
I thought that was in what we were discussing, so I guess I was arguing,
So
leave
if-
that in. If
I
that
would,
if
I would
that has
almost
been
put,
stated,
I would
leave
almost
it.
put a statement, or this whole thing, I mean, that you're trying to make the argument that dam removal, because it provides fish passage, allows grants to cover a significant portion of the expense. Therefore, that is the lowest cost over a 50-year span to the taxpayers of Camden.
So ignoring the topic of project cost, it's,
I think you just
Ongoing.
kind of lump it all together and say, I wouldn't disassociate, I wouldn't necessarily talk about your 1-year cost versus your 50-year.
so if after that first sentence, dam removal
like 'em,
represents
you
the
like 'em.
most cost-effective option in the long term, you would then say something like, by providing fish passage.
I mean, that's the only reason the fish passage is what is giving, is what's making it.
Uh-oh.
We're finished here in a while, but what are you in here for?
Midcoast Solid Waste. We usually meet in this room.
All right,
They met all day yesterday, I know.
They met all day yesterday. What time is your
That's
meeting?
the 22nd. I thought it was at 6.
We haven't, you're the first one here.
sit down. We'll be kicked out if we have more people
Yeah,
coming in.
We're done at 6:15.
6:15, yeah. Let's finish up this one section.
Yeah.
Okay, but is that what you were suggesting after that first sentence? Most cost-effective option in the long term, period, by providing fish passage. Dam removal opens the door to grant funding that would minimize the cost to the town over a 50-year period. Is that what you were suggesting? Is it even close?
Yeah. And I would say, and I think you're trying to make the argument, I mean, I think part of the reason a lot of us have recommended this is because of the financial advantage.
Yep.
And the financial advantage only exists because of fish passage, opportunities associated with fish passage. And it's an interesting, it's really a fiscal, it's a financial advantage. I would keep it at Camden taxpayers too. I would say focus on, as opposed to town of Camden.
Right, it's
Yeah,
taxpayers.
good point.
Dam removal can provide, by providing fish passage, dam removal can,
If fish passage allows access to external funding sources that can significantly offset initial costs, ensuring town makes a sustainable investment in its future. So fish passage.
oh, did you get that, Courtney?
Yeah, sign me up.
Where
Sign
are
her
you?
up.
What- I'm lost.
Fish passage allows access to external funding sources that can significantly offset initial costs.
You're going too fast for me, I'm sorry. So fish passage allows access to grant funding.
External funding sources
Oh,
that
external, okay, hold on. External.
Can you
sources
email it
that-
to her?
Okay,
Yeah, that can significantly, and now the rest of it is exactly what's at the bottom of that paragraph there, but I can email you the sentence.
what bottom of paragraph?
Sorry, okay. That can significantly offset initial costs, ensuring the town
Sorry,
makes.
where
This
are
is the
you?
last sentence in the fourth paragraph.
Nah, there you go.
Okay. Fourth paragraph, 1, 2.
No,
3.
fifth paragraph.
When it
Fifth
starts-
paragraph.
I've created like 7 more paragraphs, so yeah, I'm.
So
Hold on,
the
okay.
paragraph that originally
offsetting.
Started
said-
economically,
the ori-
That's helpful, okay.
okay,
They originally said
last-
economically.
right, so
Yeah.
it's the last sentence of
Last
that
sentence.
paragraph.
Oh, I found it. Okay,
So I just,
significantly offsets, okay. Got it. I like it.
So that you retain the first sentence and then follow it with your sentence.
Yeah,
Our meeting got rescheduled and I did not get the memo.
Oh,
Sorry.
And you came out in the cold. Oh
Came
dear.
out in the cold, but I was also double booked, so I'm now going to the other things.
And so then do we get rid of the following paragraph?
okay, fish passage, okay,
The next paragraph's good.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah, so leave that.
But I
The
would
next
use
paragraph
could
being-
instead of would.
removing Montgomery Dam
Could.
could also,
Yeah, good call.
okay.
So are we,
And
are we taking, are we removing the sentence? You know, originally it said economically, dam removal, et cetera, and then it says unlike dam restoration or
Yeah, we're
partial
getting rid of
removal.
that.
We're just taking that out. I just feel like there is something important in there with the maintenance costs because they will be reduced. I just think it's something, to me, it was important thinking about like, there's two guys that have to go out and open the dam, you know, in scary conditions sometimes. And like all of that, you know, that we have to pay them to do that. Like I just think
The management.
that's a story. Yeah. That to me is important. And 1.3 million versus what was it, 2.6? That's half. I mean, that's significant to me.
All right, but you could still add that additionally, it reduces the taxpayer burden for ongoing maintenance costs associated with the Montgomery Dam, something like that. It could be
Yeah.
additionally sentenced.
Right, somewhere.
Well, right
just
after,
make a note
right
to figure
after
out where to put it.
Elfies,
Oh, okay.
right after
Well-
Elfies. And then you move on to the 3 private dams, privately owned dams.
It's a little clunky in between, I think, but
Well,
why
you-
don't we think about this? Make a note. I have a hard time. I'd have to like reread the flow and everything to make sense of it, I think.
All right, but we'll leave the following, the last one, the removing the Montgomery Dam could.
Okay.
And then the 3 privately owned dams above it.
Okay.
I would consider putting a period after it and taking out the and say building fish passage at the 3 upper dams would allow 2 miles of the river to flow freely. Reconnecting ecosystems, enabling sea-run fish.
Okay.
All right, to keep it from being a run-on sentence.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
And then
Very
put a
long.
period after possibly to the lake, and then it could improve the health of the ecosystem, making the river watershed.
Say that again.
I would put a period after possibly to the lake, and then say it could improve the health of the ecosystem, making the river watershed and ocean more resilient, as well as open up more recreational opportunities such as canoeing, kayaking.
So you-
How does it make the ocean more resilient?
You change the semicolon to a period.
Oh, is that what I did?
Yes.
Have we made it
After
for
lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then improve
And
the
then
health
it-
of,
Yeah, it could improve the health of the ecosystem.
But how does it make the ocean?
I think we should be more emphatic about the promises. I think removing Montgomery Dam will, but to get away from that, I would just say removing the Montgomery Dam, or however we've decided, unlocks funding,
Okay,
because it does.
all right.
And I think Ray is asking,
But where that sentence says makes the ocean more resilient, how does removing the dam make the ocean more resilient?
yeah, this is the,
I think someone got ahead of themselves.
no, this is a
I mean,
wonderful, important, but, nuanced point to make.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm listening.
when you have fish passage
Mm-hmm.
and all of those baby alewives go back out into the Gulf of Maine, they are a necessary part of the ecosystem the way that keystone species only like them are. When you inject herring, as we've heard from all of the fish experts,
all right.
everything measurable in your life,
Mhm.
Ray, goes up.
It's looking up for you, Ray.
That's right, if it's all going
Just
up.
trying to look out for a future for you and your family, seriously. This is what it's about. But you scoff, Ray, but I mean,
No,
you just,
no,
you just
no.
won't hear it. You just will not hear ecological science,
Yeah.
even when it's tied to economy of, I mean, like.
But I'm gonna side with Ray here. I guess it seems like they're talking about climate change, which I view more as things like sea level rise. And I don't know that removal of the dam makes our harbor any more resilient to sea level rise than having the dam.
No,
there.
more oxygen-rich water going into the harbor makes a big difference, Tyler.
In sea level rise?
Yeah, the thermal expansion.
I
yes.
don't buy it.
More oxygenated water,
Not in the
slightly
reports.
cooler.
It's not in the reports.
More oxygenated water is not part of the water quality
The
assessment.
interfluid reports does not talk about the harbor is not higher because of the dissolved oxygen content.
No. I'm saying that thermal expansion accounts for a great deal of sea level
I
rise.
don't disagree with that at all.
So temperature related.
Right.
It's at least keeping the water that can be cooler, somewhat cooler through oxygen.
Our harbor's not deep
enrichment.
enough for thermal expansion issues.
Well,
You take Poisson's coefficient and you look at a harbor that's 10 feet deep. It
no,
doesn't
I think that there's
something
thermal
that's-
expansion in the bay that has an effect on the way the
You
tides
gotta be
interact.
miles, you gotta be like miles deep. I don't buy it.
Okay, I know, I've talked to some other geophysicists that would debate it, but they're way brighter and I don't know, so I can't tell for what I'm observing. But if we're talking about ocean,
talking about
what was it?
ocean.
Ocean resiliency?
I think if we're talking about ocean ecosystem, I think I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just said, I think the word was resiliency, and if that implies climate
Problem
change.
it says
then
the
we could
ocean
change
more
that.
resilient
No,
to the
I think-
effects of climate change.
I think that's a misstatement. If they had said harbor, it might have made a difference because some of the charts
But the
show.
reason why NOAA is involved and interested is because of overall more resilient oceans
Right,
and the importance that they play in the world. And so.
don't disagree.
And
I
so.
don't.
So maybe we take out to the effects of climate change?
Making
Well,
the
can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
So the way I view it is the ocean is undergoing acidification, a loss of species, changes in species, moving north, south, whatever, creating a more I want to use the word resilient, but more fish entering the water, more, eagles preying on them, more whales, seals, the whole ecosystem is expanding, right, through this introduction of more sea-run fish coming through the ecosystem. That's what creates the resiliency to climate change. Does that make sense? I did not say that very well.
To that point, and also I think to Seth's, what if that sentence simply talked about doing this helps to offset the effects of climate change on the ocean and some of the other things. It doesn't prevent it, but it helps to offset it for all the reasons that Seth just outlined and that you made reference to. And it offsets the effects of climate change on the level of water in the rivers, so flood risk in the watershed, and health of the ecosystem in the watershed. It doesn't prevent it from having an impact, but it offsets those.
I'm not sure I understand. Where would you put that? Or how would you?
I'm just
change
trying
the
to
sentence?
fix the sentence. Possibly to the lake, period. And then something about improving the health of the ecosystem, making the river, watershed, and ocean more resilient to the effects of climate change. Open up more recreational opportunities and so on and so forth.
So, sorry, I missed the part where you're going to change it to something or what you would do.
the part of the sentence that seems problematic, or that we haven't agreed upon, is that removing the dam improves or makes the ocean more resilient to the effects of climate change.
So you want to remove it? I'm
No,
just
I
not
don't-
sure
I'm-
what you're
I'm
saying
just
to
trying
change.
I'm
Are
trying
you
to
saying to
thread the
take out?
needle between the differences here, that's all.
Yeah.
What is it
So
we're
what-
actually
what are
trying
you-
to say? Removing the dam does what to these three things? Because the driver in the sentence, the way it's written,
Yeah.
improves the health of the ecosystem, which in turn makes the river, watershed, and ocean more resilient to the effects of climate change. Is that what we're saying?
Makes sense to me, but if it doesn't make sense, we can change it. I'm not hearing.
So
like,
you're
what the
putting in
what
the
change you
phrase
want
"and
to make.
in turn."
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that is because the
Oh,
driver seems to be, it's improving the health of the ecosystem.
I
and
think
that
that's
in
implied by the
turn
sentence. So that's why I was confused. Okay, so
is what
which
has
in
these other
turn is what you
effects.
wanted to write?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
So, but it's a leap for a lot of people because we haven't really talked about improving the ocean before.
Right.
I'm not doubting that it does.
Yeah, we
for all-
have. Yeah.
Right.
I thought we had in a lot of the like fish run,
I think,
sea run fish discussions.
No, I
it's
know,
come
but
up
we
a lot.
haven't said that
Yeah.
here, is all I'm saying.
I think it's improving the ocean ecosystem locally.
Yeah.
Like if you start to develop fish runs in that river.
Right, right.
It's hard because to me, I see climate change, that word climate change is more associated with sea level rise and storms.
Yeah.
I think most people do.
Yeah.
So I understand that where you're coming from. We could
But
Right.
say
swollen rivers, for more water running faster, running into the harbor during a storm, rainstorm combined with surge is what has swamped small boats. So it's not that the flood resilience by spreading out floodwaters doesn't have an impact on the harbor. It does. So I don't know, is the
I'm fine
point?
either, I'm fine either way. It
Yeah,
doesn't,
is
doesn't
the-
bug me too much. It's just, I see where Ray's going. Like,
Yeah, no, I get it.
Good-
I'm
good
not
question- good
expecting
question, yeah.
major
Right.
ocean changes
Right.
as a result of the
Yeah.
Megunticook
Yeah.
River.
Right.
So if we leave it that way with a period after lake and then say it can improve and then leave the sentence the way it is, you're saying that's okay with you now, Tyler?
Yeah.
Or
just-
Ray?
I certainly understand where Ray's coming from on it. I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, I mean, it's the introduction of the fish. It's not necessarily the removal of the dam that would do that.
why don't we just take out and ocean and we could have another sentence about the ocean if we wanted to, about making the ocean ecosystem improved or something,
But if you, Ray, to your
because like,
point,
if we're stuck on this, then other people might be. And
if you
Yeah.
separate, you're saying it's the it's the fish passage that does all this.
Yeah.
It's the,
Yeah.
but the dam removal is
Dam
what
removal-
will allow the fish passage.
Yeah, I know.
So
Yeah,
to separate the two
Yeah, I mean,
is hard to
I'm-
do.
I'm okay with it. I just raised that question, okay? All right? All right.
And was the
we,
94
why don't we think about it?
properties-
And
Yeah, where did the
Might come-
94 properties
we can come up
from?
with something more that makes
Those-
more sense. 'Cause
that's
I do understand where most people think of
Courtney
sea level
had it.
rise,
in her report. You'd have to look at her report with the footnotes.
Yeah.
Courtney,
okay.
was the 94 properties just associated with Montgomery Dam
No.
or
Can't be.
that's?
No, that's the whole river.
Okay,
That's the whole river.
I got it. So it's right. I see. And then one other quick question for you. Where are we measuring the 2 miles from?
From Seabright.
Okay, see right down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I was just making sure we weren't including we weren't talking about the. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we weren't including some sort of fish ladder as part of the free flowing.
Part of the 2
yeah.
miles.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
Yeah, if it wanders around.
It's a whole lot.
I wonder if you want to move the recreational opportunities to the next paragraph. In other words, we've been talking about climate change and flood risk. Do you want to take open up more recreational opportunities
Mhm.
to the next paragraph
Yeah.
where you talk about,
Yeah.
Okay.
restored river corridor, foot traffic?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
much better.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. The only other thing I have in there is in that area that's highlighted in blue, Riverwalk, I've always seen as one word, not two. And then in the next paragraph where it says significance of the dam, I only just say significance of Montgomery Dam. So we make sure we're talking about that one dam.
Okay.
You got that? All right.
Yeah,
Where's,
that
where's
makes
the
sense.
significance?
Okay.
You guys, sorry, I have to leave you, but the rest of it all looks perfect.
That's in the thing that begins, the paragraph or whatever, while we acknowledge
acknowledge.
concerns
While we
about the
acknowledge,
source
okay.
Yeah.
Of the Montgomery Dam.
Of Montgomery Dam or the Montgomery Dam. Yeah. Okay.
You got
All
a
right.
hockey game, Tyler?
My kids have fun practice, so.
All right.
Just kidding.
We wrap
All
it up
right,
with that?
so
And I got a coach.
assignment
Oh,
and a
really?
question, people. We have a conflict on February 5th.
Yeah.
With the Camden Can presentation on harbor
Mhm.
resilience.
Yep.
But we will probably need 2 more meetings.
Mhm.
So if you could think about a date that would replace, it won't be a Wednesday night, because we'll probably need the following Wednesday night, which is the 12th. That's the Cinderella date.
Yeah.
So we
So-
have
You say
the
we'll be here to
29th.
midnight?
We have the 29th, and then we have
Yeah.
the 12th.
Right.
But the 5th,
We're gonna need something that
we
week.
need something that week if we can.
Yeah.
So,
I would
Should we
send out an
try to
email
figure it
to
out
everybody.
now?
well, we can, but I don't know whether anybody else has to leave right now, but we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people out of 9.
Well, if all 5 of us could agree, and then we could ask the others. That
But then
might
we can have the
be
meeting.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
6 kind of court.
as
So-
well.
There's Monday, the 3rd, Tuesday, the 4th. But for the 4th, there's another presentation on dams, which is being held up there further north, but is available by Zoom. The fellow who's been writing for the Maine Monitor
Mhm.
on dams in Maine
Yeah.
is
right,
doing a big
Yeah,
presentation.
right.
But if you
Really?
don't feel
How about-
strongly about that, I
I think I
think,
sent it to everybody. Didn't I send that?
yeah,
link
I
to
think you
everybody?
did.
Oh, yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
that's on the 4th?
That's
Just didn't
on
write
the
it down on my
4th,
calendar.
but
Cool.
whether or not that'll be archived, I don't know. The one on the 5th seems more centrally related to what we want to do. There's also Thursday, the 6th, and Friday, the 7th. So Monday, Thursday, and Friday don't have anything in conflict right now unless your personal schedules conflict.
I have conflicts until Thursday. So Thursday, Friday, I could do it.
You have a conflict when?
You could do
I-
Thursday, Friday, or
I could do
those are-
Thursday or Friday that week, but otherwise I'm
and others.
jammed.
I would opt for Thursday right now.
Mutual.
I don't have my calendar in front of me, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Thursday would be better.
So
I don't
same
know.
time.
I have no idea what the reserves of this room are,
I'll find out tomorrow.
but we can find another place, maybe upstairs in the
Maybe the Tucker room.
Tucker room.
I could,
you
Thursday's
do-
better for me.
So
Thursday
Thursday's better
sounds
for
better.
everybody who's
Yeah.
here
Right.
and on the screen. Okay.
Right.
All right, so I will send an email out
Mhm.
to others
Okay,
and
fine.
ask if that
Yeah.
will do, and I'll find
Okay,
out from Audra
fine.
where we can meet.
Fine.
That was a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Right, yeah.
Between now and our next meeting on the 29th,
Yeah.
it would be really helpful if you all would look through the appendix that's attached to this
Mhm.
and answer at least 2 questions. Is it important to have one? And are the things that are in this draft, everything and nothing? Everything that is necessary and nothing that is not. Now, during this review, we've talked about moving some of the tables and figures in the body of the report to the appendix. So take a look at what is in the draft appendix, but then look back through the other figures and see whether there's more that we want to add. And we'll talk about that on the 29th.
Okay, so what are the two questions? Is the appendix necessary?
Do we want to have an appendix that is titled or not, resources and references? It allows us to take the lists of resources out of the text and put it back here, and some other things, or not.
Okay.
So before we worry about what's in it, do we want to have an appendix or do we just want to have a recommendation?
Did you start a glossary?
I did, and I brought a couple of copies. And I just started it with the words that we came up with: resiliency, flood,
Mhm.
keystone species,
Yeah.
ecological diversity, and stratification.
We can have a definition for resilience that we can agree on, or?
Well, there's
Yeah,
one
we
that,
need to do that.
it's in our,
I was gonna say, what's on our website?
well, that's where I went, because
Yeah.
that was
Right,
the suggestion.
right.
And what we have is different communities may have not that one. We define resiliency as the system's ability to withstand or quickly rebound to changes as it relates to a variety of pressures,
Mhm.
e.g. economics, aesthetics, environmental.
Mhm.
It's as good as any of the others I've ever seen. It's your ability to adapt without losing any core functions. But,
Good.
so if you want a copy of these, I can give you a paper copy, or I can email you.
Are
You
those?
can email one to
You
me.
can email, I was
Okay.
gonna say,
Email
are they
you.
the same as what's on the,
Yeah, it indicates where there's a definition, it indicates the source. Our glossary is not very rich. All I'll say about it. The one
Okay.
that's on our website is not particularly rich. So that's why I went to this. Do you want me to, you want that? So that's the assignment. And then Courtney, realistically, when might you be able to get us?
Revised.
a
So we still
revised-
haven't gone through one of the other sections, but
Which other section?
the one that we kind of skipped over at the beginning, which is all about outreach.
About what?
outreach?
It's our, so it's headed Megunticook
Outreach.
Rivers, or MerCAC role and process. So it's like our mission, our public meetings.
You all told me we'd already been over all that.
Right.
I'd listed them on the agenda of mission, public meetings, community outreach, and information sessions. And I had
We skipped
scenario-
that last time because we wanted to get to the meat and then
Oh, but I
we
was
continued
told,
this time.
my point is, at this meeting, I was told we'd already covered that.
I think, I didn't say that. I said
I was gonna say, I
thought we
think.
had.
we still needed to do it.
All
Sorry if
right,
I
so at the next
misspoke or
meeting,
something.
we will
Mhm.
go down through
But I
that
can-
list.
I can start doing, working on it this weekend.
Well, unless, but it's literally just a question. It's not a request that it be done by a date, Courtney. What's realistic?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying I can start working on it. It's gonna be tough to give you a
No,
deadline
but
right now.
might you have,
I might have to think about that.
but might you have a draft for us by that Thursday meeting, the 6th of February?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sure,
That
couple
meeting-
weeks. I have to talk to Ellen too, figure out. He's working on it, but yeah. I can't commit right now. I need
No,
to
it was a
think about it.
question. It was a question. It was just a question.
Yeah.
That's all.
And
I
if there's a
can't say
way
yes,
to,
but I will try.
Can we help in some way?
I mean, if there's a way to divvy up the sections with your
Yeah.
notes, I would happily take on a couple sections.
Could we make
That'd be
sense
great.
of what you've done?
Yeah. I
I
don't know
mean,
how
I've
we're
made
gonna-
notes also, so maybe with my notes and your notes, I could
Yeah,
work on
that'd be
some
great.
sections.
I think maybe you and Ellen and I can get together and try to figure this next part out and timing and all that.
Okay, because we still have to discuss the warrant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so that's got to be the last meeting?
Anything that we finish up all of this next week, and then on the 6th, we work on the warrant, or?
Well, on the 29th, yep, and then on the 6th, we would work on the warrant, and then we would review the whole package on the 12th. Right. So, and I hope we can get through.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll start again at the beginning and go over mission, public meetings, community outreach, and information sessions. I don't know what happened at the beginning of this meeting, but okay.
Well, I think it's okay. I think,
Heard you. Honestly.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, we had to get through, this was the most important part that we did.
Right.
The other parts, like, who are we? And I think that'll be
I agree.
easy to go over. So I'm glad we did it this way.
Oh, yeah.
And now we can, now we can really start on the edits. And
But if some of it's partially done, then it won't take us as long as it might have. If there's been some work that people think we've already done on those sections. But don't
on the
forget
section that we haven't, or,
the ones,
sorry, I'm not understanding.
the ones at the beginning, role and process. Mission, public meetings, community outreach.
Yeah, we had it, as a group, we didn't go over that. We
We
skipped
went
it.
over some of it.
I
But
would
what did
suggest
we
that
do
the-
for
I don't have any
last time?
notes
I don't-
if we did.
Towards the end,
Well, that can all be a chart
Right.
as far as I'm concerned.
moved around.
I think after next, I would think this is just after next week, if we feel we need more time in the following week, and we said Thursday is the 6th, we may have to say, hey, we may need.
Oh, exactly.
That week, because you don't want to put everything off to the 12th.
No,
No,
no. But we'll see where we are
Yeah.
on the 29th. Okay. All right.
All right, everybody.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah, I
all.
better go. So, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Courtney.
Have fun,
See you later.
Courtney.
How's the
Thank
skiing?
you. Cold.
Cold, yeah.
It's really cold.
Are you in Sunday River?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be back next week in person. Bye.